Hello again, my younger friends. Hope you're doing well. Hope your life has settled down a bit compared to perhaps what you've been dealing with recently, along the lines of the previous two little productions that I did here for you with the hope of it will be helpful to make you realize where you are and how to deal with what you're going through and bring more balance to your life. We all need balance, and for that, we learn certain things as so we would learn how to tango with this music of life, or perhaps how to navigate our little boat, or if you're having a ship into this through this ocean of life. As it is, life is a journey, I'm sure you do know. And through this journey, like any other journey, we meet, see, experience so many different things at different points of this distance that we are trying to travel through. Now, whether we are taking the mountain road, scenic road, trail, hiking, we are swimming. Oh, no, that's too long. At least I'm not in that shape. Or perhaps we're using our boat to take this distance. We're flying, using an aircraft, or we're driving. Either way, there is a distance, and there are things that we experience through this negotiating this distance. And we all hope to arrive to a place where what? What is the place that we are trying to arrive to? That could be a question for today's discussion that could touch every aspect of our life, whether it's emotional challenge that we may be going through, or whether we are very young and full of energy, as most of my viewers right now may be, because this could be a sequence to the last two, and I know the last two was geared for the younger friends of mine, and or you could be at any other age. However, what is the question here? Where are we trying to reach? Where are we trying to go? Are we negotiating this distance, this travel that we are part of, to get to a destination? Is that what life is all about? Destination is what we are basing the purpose of our life on. I don't know, but I do have a theory from time to time. And I think destination is nice and it's important because it's a beacon. It shows us the way and why we're doing what we're doing, which is important. But don't you think that the process of this negotiation of this distance to get to that destination, the journey, don't you think that is the life? I think we must examine and focus a little deeper on the meaning of life and what's there to gain and how we gain them. I feel every time that I traveled with my father when I was a child. My father was a lawyer. He had a PhD in law, and he was a very important man to me at least, as I'm sure everyone's father is, and mother, but we just happen to be talking about this segment. And he would take us on a trip every so often or a year, the whole family. And mom usually would have a big bucket of freshly washed and perfectly clean, ready to eat fruits in this ice bucket or in this bucket in front of her feet. And she would feed father and us, we were little kids, while father was driving to the destination. And we were supposed to go to the Caspian Sea and enjoy the life of leisure and beach and swimming and, the hotel, the resort, and the bicycle riding. When we were kids, things that we may not think of it right now were very big deals, like renting a bicycle in the hotel resort, go there and get a bicycle and get the best one and have a good break and all that. So we were going through that journey, and so all through this journey, everybody had this idea of destination, and we would be, the closer we would get to the Caspian Sea area, the more we would be focusing on who will see the ocean first. And whoever sees it, I see it, he's the winner. So that was the destination, the resort that father was taking us all. But as much fun as it was to get to the destination, which at that age we only focused on destination, but now that I think back, there were so many beautiful, wonderful things on the way, which we may not have noticed at the time, but I can see its taste and its effect and its enjoyment and pleasure now, while it was not the destination yet. It was on the way to destination. Things like, if we were hungry and the road was long and it was a mountainish road, we had to go up on the mountain that was between the capital city and Caspian Sea. Through the way, we would have to eventually go up several mountains, and then on close somewhere in the mountain there was a big, beautiful tunnel was done, which was done through the, I guess, long time ago. I think one of the Iranian kings at the time had the Germans engineers to build that at the time. And so it was a one-way tunnel. And it was always amazing to me to kind of experience the fact that all the cars are waiting until the other cars come out and the tunnel is empty and the light changes to green, and then you go through, and it was fascinating. Right now I may not think of it too much, but when we are a kid, and at different age, different things affects you differently. I have a point of all these things. Just be patient with me. And then sometimes, on the way when we were hungry, was a beautiful river, and there was a cafe right by the river, trees, and wooden places prepared for customers to either sit at the table and eat, or just have a Persian carpet on those little wooden kind of bed-looking things, and the food would be brought on, then everybody would be sitting around it or on it and enjoying themselves while the river was flowing by, and the watermelons were inside the river to be cold, to stay cold, and Coca-Cola bottles were in the river held on to some things, and the cafe owner, when you would order this, would go and pick it up from the inside the shallow portion of the river and take your Coca-Cola for you and open it, because Coca-Cola was cold. That water in that river was cold, even in the summertime, very cold. Watermelon was fresh and cold, so would bring it out and cut it for you. And these pleasures of peace, tranquility, and friendship and love was all through this journey, which, if you don't focus on that moment of the fascination of the tunnel and the food that we're being served by such simplicity of the cafe owner, and the simplicity of natural preservation of, let's say, freshness of the watermelon and the coolness of Coca-Cola in the river water and all that. So simple, yet so heartwarming, so amazing. And if we didn't have the chance to enjoy and understand the moment that these things were going on, and only focus on the resort, well, wouldn't you think we would have missed parts of the whole experience of this journey? Should we not have focused on that lunch, on that atmosphere that we were having the lunch, the togetherness of the family, and how things were in that location, the tunnel and the fascination of it, the magnificence of it, the history of it, and then also when we get close to the ocean, and then the resort, and then the hotel and the restaurants and the whole activity there, wouldn't that give you the full experience? And together, then it can be called life. So what I'm trying to tell you is that every one of us have a destination in mind, and that destination, depending on our age, let's say we're all young, and at that age of 19, 20, 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, we usually form our plans. And at that age, we probably are thinking about our destination. And we're probably missing the point that there's a journey and there's a road to the destination, and that's where the bulk of the life is. That's where most of the life is. Because really there is no such thing as a destination. It is all the way to the destination. Because if you have, let's say, a plan of, I don't know, achieving something, well, once you get there, your life is not over. And if you get there soon, within a couple of years, you achieve your goals, then you will set another goal, right? So that which was a destination is now, because you're there and you have other goals and another destination is ahead, so that destination really ends up to be what it was, part of the road. Yeah? So what I'm trying to tell you is that we must focus on learning things along the way and not be so focused on arriving. Driving should be more in our mind. Getting there, the experiences through that should be what we should be considering, its teachings and its experiences. Because once we get to the destination, pretty much there is not much else to learn. It's like a place where you feel like, okay, now what? It's like when you climb a mountain. It is on the way to the summit that is very exciting. And adventurous, full of experience and teachings, and makes you strong and gives you put to the test your abilities of whether you're using ropes to, you know, negotiate the side of the mountain to go up, or you're walking up, or you're negotiating the trail to go up. Either way, the excitement and the learnings and the teaching and the experiences and how you get stronger and exercise your talents and exercise your abilities, it all happens on the way to the summit. Once you get to the summit, you will see beautiful scenery. You will have your lunch, and it's time to come back. Unless it's part of a mountain range and you set another destination to again go further up or further out, or however. I remember at one time I took my students to, I was teaching martial arts and meditation at the time, Aikido, which is a way of life for me. It's beautiful exercise and philosophy and learning how to become one with the nature and understand our relationship with the nature and so on. We'll talk about that maybe a little bit later on, touch on it. Don't want to bore you too much on that. So I used to take my students to, and there's a mountain close by here in right outside of Vancouver towards Whistler, and it's called the Chief. It's a straight up going rock, like a mountain, and many people use ropes and gears that they're expert at, and they negotiate that side of the rock and go straight up with ropes and climbing up, rock climbing. And then of course there's a pathway that you go straight up with lots of tightly put together stairs, and you go up to an area which you negotiate the the mountain to the summit inside, through the actual rock, through the mountain. And then there are creeks and fresh water and all that. And so we did go. It took us 3 hours, and we negotiated up to the summit. And the summit was, we found a flat place, rock, and you could see it far, far beyond, and you could see a beautiful scenery, and it could be scary if you go too close, but we sat there and we all had our lunches from backpacks, and we meditated, and that's such a beautiful, tranquil place, and we had our lunch, and then there was nothing. It's time to go back. So what I'm trying to say is, don't put your hopes on the destination alone. Destination, when you reach it, could mean now what? Could be disappointing because you're used to negotiating pathways and challenges. Where you get strong and experienced is on the way to the destination. And so never forget the question of, are you waiting to start your life thinking that life is where destination is achieved? Or life is a combination of a journey toward the destination that you set out for yourself and the further enjoyment of what you achieve, the destination, when you get there. I think we should not lose sight of the way to achieve, and not just on the achievement. Now, most challenges, as we said, happens on the way, and we need certain skills to negotiate these challenges. Where do we get that skills? Where do we get those willpowers? Where do we get those knowledge to help us to withstand the bad weather through this journey, the waves and the storms if we are taking our boats, or the possible dangers of happening things on the way up to the mountain or the forest or jungle. Where do we get those powers? Well, I guess like anything else that we want to be good and protective of ourselves or know how to negotiate it is knowledge, yeah? So we go to school from childhood, our families teach us something, then they put us to school, and then we go to, I guess, higher school and university and get job experiences, and we educate ourselves further. And these are academic, mostly academic experiences. But then there are other helps that we try to learn and understand that we need to learn them, and those are things: how to analyze situations, how to discipline our minds, and how to set goals, and how to learn techniques to control our emotions and negotiate with hardships and emotional challenges and problems that some of you were going through just recently. That's how this whole series started, about relationships and breakups and so on and so forth. And then we learn all these techniques, and we are told and taught how to do this, how to think this, and so on. Some of us want to lose weight, some of us want to stop smoking, some of us want to stop drinking, some of us learn it is good to be righteous, if it's good to be normal, in a way of everything is moderation, not going overboard, not to going through extreme things, extreme activities, or extreme reactions. But does anyone teach us, or do we think of how to develop the willpower that we need to use and do all what these techniques teach us? Lose weight. Okay, so don't eat this, eat that, not so much of that, not at this time. Well, great, I understand that, the regiment and the plan and the discipline of it. Or smoking, it's not good for you, is this, is that, and you should cut down to this, cut down to that. When you want to feel like having this, instead do something else, or have something else, or get yourself busy with something, or many other techniques which I'm not so good at it. But we need to do that, right? And for studying, let's say, some of us claim that, I have ADD, okay, but it really is not the ADD, it's the lack of focus, or able to stay focused. And then there are certain techniques that they say, okay, you got to do this, you got to stay focused on it, and so on and so forth. But have you ever thought, okay, where do I get the know-how of how to put my mind to follow these instructions? Where is the power? Where is the training for the mind power to unleash itself on what I want to achieve, what I want to do? To be successful financially, they tell us, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to be disciplined, you got to get up at certain times, set goals and follow your goals, and do this every day, regiment and routine and habits and da-da-da-da. It's all correct. It's all correct. There are gurus out there that they teach us, and they're all good, and some of them are just extraordinarily good. Tony Robbins is one of them. I like him. I remember. It was, I think, about 30 years ago that I heard about him. Similar age, I think we are. And one of my students, or one of the people that was training at the time, was telling me, he's found this tape, these productions of a young man called Tony Robbins, and it's really good and all that. And because I was always myself in meditation and philosophy and understanding and analyzing, ourselves and minds and mind power and training and developing and all that. So I didn't pay much attention, but I was, very happy that such things are happening, and I heard that name, but I never listened to such productions and so on, until recently. I bought them for my son, and I also I like to learn, because I think everybody can learn, no matter how good you are, whatever it is. There's always new things that you can learn, a new way of looking at things. And at least if you knew everything that was being said and you already knew it, let's say, but at least there would be some things maybe said in a different way, and it triggers something different. And if you're a ponderer, if you're interested in analyzing yourself further, you're always looking for different angles, and so you can enjoy and use that as part of your own. You add it to your own way of thinking or analyzing and benefit from it. So I also listened to some of it, and there's some certain parts that makes you see the same thing that you were seeing and analyzing in a different way, and then now you open a different way of analyzing it. Most these wonderful, educated, experienced gurus or teachers like Tony Robbins and Mr. Jim Rohn and so on, they help you with lots of things, but it is up to you to interpret it for your own situation and add it to your way of thinking, analyzing it, and seeing it the way they're suggesting you to see it, and then see how else you can see it and enhance on it. Don't just stay there. Don't expect a miracle of that sentence, but use that as a trigger, as a way to look at things from different angles, and use that angle to open up and enhance your understanding of yourself and build on it. So, story got long. I forgot what the heck was it that I was trying to say. I think what I was trying to say was that we all are taught how to do certain things and achieve certain things. The losing weight thing, the smoking things, and the stopping drinking things and its ways, and learning and studying better and so on, and understanding that our powers are infinite and unlimited only if we can know how to unleash it. And I used to teach my own students in different ways and so on and so forth. And so I realized there are all these people who tell everybody, and they themselves listen and learn from other sources as well, because that's the way to learn, to be open to things. Nobody knows everything, and everybody can use everyone's knowledge to add to it and make it better. That's the whole idea of life, to build on each other's knowledge and experiences. That's how we progress and develop. But what was missing, or maybe I was fortunate enough that from the university time, I just took a simple course of martial arts, and that was a different kind of martial arts. It was heavily focusing on the mind development rather than just only the physical techniques, which we had both. But we realized where the actual power is coming from. It's not from the physical end, it's from the development of the minds and understanding the relationship between us and the nature. And the nature has the magnificent, unlimited force and power, and we try to recognize and learn that and become coordinated with it, the one with it, and learn it and become part of it as we are, and develop our senses, our abilities, and through which we could enhance our physical abilities as well. So what I want to share with you, by the way, I recommend all these wonderful gurus that are there. And I recommend you to listen to Tony Robbins' things, because each one of us, we address a certain angle of life, and you listen to as many as you like, and then you see what fits for you and helps you, and negotiate your life on that base and build on it, and maybe share with other people what you have found. Because I'm sure everyone who develops something is hoping that it would be of some use and help, and it would be used to be built on it, and help everyone to look at things from different angles, so they can cover all angles, so it can be more helpful. And the intention of all these good people like Tony Robbins and Jim Rohn, I think that's Jim's name, and many other experts and teachers, is to make life better and more manageable for everyone, all of us. And I like to, in my own place, as little as I can, with the little knowledge that I have, to help whoever I can help. So here is what I'm trying to do here today. With all these information that is available to us, sometimes you wonder, where do I get the willpower to do all these things that I'm supposed to do, to have the discipline, to have to do this, to get up and to be on time, to be prepared, to have a goal, to have the desire, to have this and that, so forth? Well, that's a very good question, which I can cover in a different session, because this is now 31 minutes and it may be too long for you to listen. So let me end it here by having put this question in your mind. Where does our willpower come from? How can we develop our mind power? How can we develop the strength and the understanding of, and the necessity of, developing our mind and willpower, so we can do and follow all these wonderful things that we need to do to negotiate this journey better and get closer to our destination, and so on. So take a little break, and then I will make the additional explanations, and we try to complete what I'm hoping to share with you today. Okay.